Today's topic is on financial stability, right? Diversifying your income is sustainable approach to financial stability. It's paramount to note that everything we do, has enablers and drivers, and one of the key enablers and drivers is finance, right? You would find it difficult really expressing life in this material world without finance. Even the Holy Scripture says that money answers all things, right? Things in the context of material things. That's why I said all things. There's don't miss the word. You know, when you read the scriptures, don't just read as reading. Read in the different perspective that it presents itself, right? And try to slow down and understand what it is. So when it says money says, Bible says money answers all things. Thing mean the material things, materialism of this physical realm, this terrain that we are in. So there's nothing you want to get in this earth terrain. There's nothing that money, that doesn't respond to money. So because the reason why I laid that foundation is because some of you, I know there's a lot of argument around money does not buy happiness, it doesn't buy this. So happiness is not a material thing, right? Joy is not a material thing. It's not tangible. It's you can't bring it to this world. You can only express it. Just like money does not buy love because love is not material, right? So money answered all things. For those of you who, I've not seen it in that perspective. That all things there, things is tangible. So without money, you not be able to really express how much of the things you can do on this. So we are talking about finance first and financial instability and how to get into financial stability and the steps because it's a driver and it's an enabler. I spoke about drivers and enablers also in this book. The things that drives what you need to do and the things that enables what you need to do, right? So money is both a driver and an enabler at the same time. And so if you don't have it, it creates a lot of pressure around things, right? I'm sure if all of you have enough money that you need or that you want right now to do anything you want to do at the time when you need to. Some of you might not even be in this challenge because otherwise I don't need it. But of course, this challenge is not only about money. It's not even about money, but it's part of it because it's one of the things that makes us be able to express ourselves to the fullest. Talk about love. Even when you say you love somebody, you can't really express how much you love the person if you don't have money, right? Because you want to be able to buy things for the person, you want to give gifts. Gifts cost money. You want to take the person places, those things cost money. So literally everything tangible in this material world costs you money. So we have to treat that first. We have to get ourselves in a position where we are mindful of that. We understand what it is, how it affects every other aspect of our life, and how we need to tackle it. So the first thing we are talking about or we spoke about is why a lot of people are still financially, have financial instability. So this week, basically, we are dedicating it to finance. Number one is um, uh, financial instability, which is the silent dream killer. Number two is how to get out of financial instability, how to plan your way out of financial instability, right? So, I think about 3 4 days of this challenge, this is what we're going to be doing. So, the truth is, financial instability is one of the greatest barriers to you actualizing your dreams. And even, okay, like I said, the Holy Bible have said that, right? This is not to actually glorify money, but to highlight its role as a resource that facilitates the pursuit of purpose, the pursuit of vision, and even basic needs. If you look at the, Maslow's hierarchy of need, for those of you that did biology in elementary science, basically, there's a hierarchy of need that Maslow designed, right? And that's the reality. So if you are not able to meet all of those needs, number one, at the root, at the bottom, so it's like a pyramid, like so. At the root bottom of that pyramid is where you start from, and that's where basic needs are: your food, your accommodation, your everything that you need to even survive, right? So that's at the survival stage before you even come to the next phase. So there are three phases that he grouped that into. Then he talked about self actualization. I mean, the last, which is the smallest peak of the cone, is self actualization. So that's where you begin to talk about things like pursuing your career. In the second line is where you talk about relationship, building relationship with people, your emotional life, your physical life, your psychological well-being and all of those things. That's the second need. So after you have eaten good food is when you can start thinking about doing exercise, right? After you have clothes on your body, right, is when you can start thinking about, oh, I love somebody, I want to express love and all of those things. But without food and all of those things, some of those things are secondary. Then after all of those other ones are when you can start thinking, oh, I want to be the best footballer in the world. I want to be great. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do. But you can't actually dream all those dreams. You can't. You can only dream those things. You can't execute them. You can't really do them if you have not eaten. You can't do them if you don't have a roof over your head. So those things are pressures, right? So without financial stability, the ability to dream big and take action is often crippled, right? So it's not just but the truth here is that financial instability is not just a result of external factors like having a job or having one that offers a low pay, or maybe even as a result of this economic downturn. That's not the reason why you are not financially stable, right? The truth is it often stems from internal mindset and habits. Yes, from your internal mindset and habits. And here is how. Number one of the reason why you are financially unstable is ignorance and non-acceptance of your status. So if I ask you now, no, not even if I ask you, this is a practical session. So get your pen, get your paper, I mean your journal. If you have a journal there, if you have a paper, if you have a book that you're putting something in, get them ready, put them somewhere. I mean, put them right in front of you. Now, so ignorance. Many people are really unaware of their true financial status. You cannot get out of a state that you do not know you are in already, right? So I asked this question. I'm asking you now. What is your financial status at the moment? And if I ask you a question, are you owing yourself? Let's even leave the people that you are owing currently. Maybe you have a loan app that you borrowed loan from. Let's forget about the loan app. Let's forget about your friends that you borrowed money from. Let's talk about you. How much is it that you are owing yourself? So being able to understand your financial state will also help you cut down a lot of excesses and non-acceptance of the status of your financial reality, because a lot of us live in denial because we don't even understand. So to get out of a dark room, you must first know that you are in a dark room for you to demand for light to be in that room. Then you are going to then look for the way to get out. So failing to track your income and expenditure eventually lead you to assume a status that is not your actual reality. By the end of this session, I hope I'm going to be able to drive us to that point where we know that, oh, this is actually my financial reality. Okay, so what is the next thing to do to get out of this? Because ignorance is not a bliss. It's actually a prison that many people are in financially, and we're struggling day in, day out. The second reason is the lack of financial vision or goal, right? So I'll ask you this question again. Please write these questions down. Sit in your private time and ask yourself again, and be real truthful to yourself. This is not about me. It's about what you get from this session. It's about you. Eventually, when you become financially stable, well, it's all for your own benefit. So you need to be truthful to yourself. When you started this year, what is the financial goal you had? Did you sit to set financial goal? Because without a clear vision or financial goal, you just drift aimlessly, right? You have money coming, money will go out. In fact, you will have a lot of money coming, and the same thing, a lot of money will go out without a trace, because you are not specific and deliberate about what you want to make. So not having a financial goal is one reason why why many are still stuck in financial instability, right? So then the third one is poverty mindset. You see, a poverty mindset is characterized by fear of lack, scarcity thinking, and an inability to see opportunities that are right in front of you. So a lot of times, this poverty mindset is not as a result, it's even as a result of factors or belief system that you are unconscious about. Because sometimes you even build a mindset that you are not even aware of. You oftentimes build unconscious belief. It's a mindset that is often unconsciously that sets a limit for you. Sometimes it's not even your, in fact, most times it's not your fault. It's the way that you grew up, environment, how you grew up, where you grew up from. It has to say a lot about the belief system that you build, right? Eventually. So a lot of us allowed environment to rub off us, that we've eventually built a limitation mindset without even knowing. So I'll give you a practical example. You can actually make a lot of money. Making a lot of money does not necessarily mean you are financially stable. We've seen a lot of businesses that shut down. They make huge millions of dollars in revenue, but their profit margin is so low. So because you make 1 million naira or 10 million naira every month in your business does not mean you are making profit in your business, right? I teach that a lot in business finance. So the same thing for your personal finance. Because if you check through your bank account, how much has come into your bank this month alone, check it and see how much has gone out. But for the lack of not tracking your finance, the lack of not having financial vision or goal set, you won't be able to keep what you need to keep. You won't even be able to identify what you need to, to keep, for you to be able to keep or multiply the finances. So poverty mindset is deep down, right? It's deep down within a belief system, such that if you have a poverty mindset, right, you might have set a limit for yourself unconsciously. So, for example, if your unconscious limit, don't check the word unconscious limit, is say you have an unconscious limit of $50,000, for example, you can make $1 million incoming even as profit, right? But because you have a subconscious mental limit of $50,000, you will keep spending that money until that money drops down to 50,000. That's when you realize, oh, I've been spending aimlessly, right? So you see how poverty mindset, you want to buy this, you want to buy that, things that you don't necessarily need, things that are not assets to you, right? To accumulate wealth. So accumulating wealth is also identifying the opportunities for assets to grow. So how many of you have observed patterns in your life to say that, okay, there's this particular certain amount of money that usually enters your account? It doesn't mean you can't make above that amount of money, but I knew at a point in my life, every damn time I had money over the limitations, then I didn't know it was a limit I had unconsciously set. I would have made money, and before I know it, within days and or weeks, say I think that time it was when I was at the limit of 20,000, right? So every time I made money, say about 100,000 or 200,000, I just spend anyhow. Until that money drops down to 20,000 is when I start to think, oh, I need to make more money. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do this. But when the money was at 100,000, I wasn't thinking. I was like, oh, yeah, yeah. This and even though I knew I was not financially stable, but I was not thinking. It's because of a mindset that has been there unconsciously and set a limit for how much I should be, right? So most times, I want you to also try and remember those patterns. What are the patterns, financial patterns in your life that you have realized? For some of us, it might be even jobs that we do. You have never received above that pay grade. You have never received above that job. You have never quoted something above what you should be quoting. What are the patterns that you have observed in your life that might be causing these things that you don't think is it conscious? You are not conscious of it. It's just happening subconsciously, right? So a mindset is very important. Some people don't think that they can make much more. Some people don't think they can keep much more. Some people don't, you don't have a, and it always starts with that goal still. What poverty mindset are you struggling with? Right? What mental limit have you subconsciously set for yourself? And you can check it by the trends in your finances actually. Check the trends in your finance. How is what are the things that have gone through your finances from the past 6 months or the past 1 year, right? How much do you have come into your account monthly? How much have you been able to keep that you say is your own? Then number four reason is the lack of value to trade. There's nothing you are trading. What are you trading? What are the skills? What are the talents you have been able to identify to say, I want to trade this? Right? It's not a cliche when there's the parable in the Bible of the parable of the talents, that the person that did not trade the talents, it was taken away from him and given to the person that was able to multiply. That is to tell you that there's something in your hand that you must trade to get something, right? You can't just sit. And that's why I said everybody has a talent, not the sole reason, but talents, everybody. So once you are a human being, you have a talent, right? So how you are, that's why you see a lot of people being able to, so far they have a talent they are trading with, they are getting value for that talent. They are getting returns on it. So you go to the mountain, you pray from now to tomorrow. Somebody has a talent and goes to put it to work. There's a principle that governs it that will make it yield, whether they pray or not. If they follow the principle, it's going to work. Financial success is often tied to the value you bring to the marketplace. It is not enough to set a financial goal, which we're going to dive into practical session after this, right? Many struggle financially because they have not identified their unique talents, skills, and all the abilities that can be monetized for them to make more money, right? So if you don't have values to trade, you must give something to get something, right? So without value to trade, your earning potentials remains limited because value is essential for exchange. So everything you do, your talent, your skills, whatever, you get a motivation for it in return. It's not to say that it is the exact value of what you give out, but it's a reward. It cannot be measured to what you give out, but it's a reward for what you are giving out. So knowing what exactly to trade is essential to build the system it requires for it to multiply its return, right? So you must understand what is it that I have to give out to the world for me to earn, right? So the next on it is then the lack of motivation or inaction. So having even identify what you can trade, a lot of people sit redundant and not taking action. And that's one other reason. I mean, the fifth reason for the internal reason for financial instability. People sit, sleep, wake up, and just don't do anything. Oh, I have identified that if I sing, if I and release my music, I can make a lot of money. If I start a podcast, I can make a lot of money. I have knowledge in business. I have knowledge in fish farming. If I start a podcast, if I start a training, you have identified all of those things, but you're not taking action. You're not taking action. The money will not fly to your ideas. No, it will fly only to execution of the ideas, right? So you need to break down your financial goals into manageable steps, right? And we'll look at that and head into action for that to materialize what can become financial revenue or financial income for you. So those are the those are the top five internal reasons why people still remain stuck within, in finances. Now, to break free from your financial instability, like I said, you need to address these root reasons and these root causes and take intentional steps towards achieving them. So, the next thing we're doing now is tackling these reasons one after the other. So take a look at your financial reality. If everything I've been saying so far has not really resonated with you, let's look at it practical in a practical situation. Now, get your pens.